And so with the investors pulling back, the first home buyers have jumped in, boots and all, looking to take advantage of a few fewer people bidding at the auctions, the tenders, that sort of thing. Well, hi again, everybody. Today I just wanted to do a quick run through of the latest information we have on the state of the real estate market using the data which get released each month by the REINZ. Now, we have a look at those numbers and we can see that the annual number of dwellings being sold around the country, that peaked at just over 100,000 back in June. We're now running at just over 92,000. So we've already got a declining level of turnover activity underway in the housing market. And if we look at the seasonally adjusted numbers where you make allowances for what happens in winter versus autumn, spring, etc., we can see that things have been pulling back now for about 9 months or so, and the chances are that that annual number of 92,000, it's still going to go lower in the near future. And one reason, of course, for that is that there's a shortage of listings, and a shortage which continues to get worse. Again, over about the past 9 months, the number of properties newly listed for sales has been declining. Obviously, the lockdown from August 18 had a bit of an impact there, sort of accelerating the pullback in new listings, but it's a trend which was underway even before that latest lockdown came along. And the number of properties listed for sale at the end of October was about 18% lower than a year earlier, and about 70% lower than a decade back. Now, we obviously had the change on March 23 affecting investors, and since then we've seen investors pulling back from the market, but we had data come out just a few days ago show that about 26% of dwelling purchases over the past 3 or so months have been undertaken by first home buyers. It's a record high. The average is about 21%, and so with the investors pulling back, the first home buyers have jumped in, boots and all, looking to take advantage of a fewer people bidding at the auctions, the tenders, that sort of thing. And unsurprisingly, with the shortage of listings, and yet the buyers are still definitely there. I can see it with my monthly measure of FOMO, fear of missing out, bottoming out back in about April and increasing fairly much ever since then. Prices have still continued to rise. And this is the most interesting thing. I've got the numbers just here to the side. Over the past 3 months, so that's the 3 months to October, average house prices around New Zealand have increased 6%. In the previous 3 months to July, I think they went up by 3.5%. So recently, there has been an acceleration in the pace of price increase in New Zealand, and I'd actually put some of that down to the lockdown, in fact, and our awareness of what happens when you have a lockdown these days. In the 3 months before that, that'd be going through to about April, house prices had actually increased about 9%, and also 9% in the 3 months before that. So look, the pace has definitely slowed down, but lockdown has led to a bit of a re-acceleration in house price inflation there, assisted by those first-time buyers jumping back in the market. I'm still of the view this is fairly much the end game, the last surge in the housing market. There aren't too many extra months, I think, when Auckland prices can increase 4.4% as they did in October. And of course, people are slowly becoming aware of the interest rates rising, the tightening up of the LVRs, the extra assessment by banks of your income and your expenses. Some banks starting to apply debt to income ratios. I have a view that next year we're going to see a net loss of Kiwis overseas to Australia predominantly. You put these sort of things together and it says to me we are facing through 2022 a slowing in the pace of house price inflation in New Zealand, and all one can say about that is, well, thank goodness. And I'll just finish with my little warning I've been giving to investors ever since 1 week after March 23. You'd better hope that house price inflation is slow by about February, or a majority Labour government could easily double down on the March 23 changes. So it'd be in your interest actually if the housing market did slow a bit further, or there's some new tax thing coming along. All the best out there.